Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We're going to be looking at Continental Championship Wrestling. And Rodney, it was a very interesting program, to say the least. November 16th, 1985. And joining us is going to be Mitch Lucas.
Hey, there he is.
Wow, man. Sorry about that, guys.
And right at the beginning. That's good.
Mitch, Rodney's gonna run down the card for us, and we're going to then we'll talk about it. Rodney, go ahead and run that down for us.
This program that I was able to view was incomplete, so we'll get as much of it as we possibly can. And open up the program, Robert Fuller, the Flame, talking about the Armstrongs and what happened last week with Jimmy Golden and that switching between Bullet and Bullet BB or whatever they called him. It was Brad in the Bullet mask, and they were switching in. That was fantastic stuff. Ended up in the end with Jimmy Golden getting the figure 4 put on him, and now he is out. So now the Flame has made some very strong comments about the Bullet and what he's going to do to him later on the program. Also today on the program, it would be the Dream match is coming up next week, supposedly. Austin Idol against Austin Idol against Adrian Street. And they recap the situation between Austin Idol and Adrian Street, where Adrian threw a substance in his eye. We never did find out exactly what that was, and it blinded Austin Idol. And the fans have written in, and they want to see that as the dream match. Then we have an interview with Lady Maxine from Florida. Gordon Soley was conducting this interview, tremendous interview, as they're getting her ready. And they never really say when she's coming, and that's the key. She'll come when she gets ready. And she's looking forward to taking care of Miss Linda. And, of course, Gordon talks about being handcuffed to Miss Linda, an upcoming match. Then we have an interview with Roy Lee Welch, Brad, the Bullet, Roberto Soto, and the upcoming matches coming up along with the Flame, and Robert Fuller. Then we have the Red Robin match for the Continental Television Championship. This is a very interesting match, to say the least. You have to win 2 falls. It started out with Roberto Soto, the Alabama heavyweight champion, and the United States Junior Heavyweight Champion, Roy Lee Welch. The only person that was in the match was not a champion, was Robert. Strange.
Hey, and by the way, he won that. So
he did well.
He did.
Well, he's the United States Junior Champion there, Alabama champion. You would think somebody around there would think, hey, we've already got too many champions here. We didn't really need any more. But anyway, it ended up with Robert beating both of them in record time. He took out he came in and he took out Roy Lee Welch, and then he hit it, I think, Roberto Soto with the loaded boot. And, of course, that was the first time we'd seen Robert use the loaded boot. He becomes the Continental Television Champion. Interview with Tommy, Johnny, Norvell, Roberto Soto, Roy Lee Welch, the Nightmares, Robert Fuller, and the Flame for upcoming matches coming up. Fantastic Tommy Rich commercial for the gigantic poster.
Oh, my.
Fantastic. And you'll also get, if you order today, you'll get a free 8x10, I believe it, or no, postcard, Robert, that Tommy Rich has personally signed.
Okay.
All that. Then it was the match number 2 of this particular was Mask versus Mask, the Flame against the Bullet. And again, that situation where we had 2 bullets going on there. They fight all the way to the back, and then the switch come in. Another switch comes in. Then it's Robert Fuller and the Flame doubling up on the one of these bullets. We're not sure. And then, of course, then they pull the mask off, and it's Brad Armstrong. And then Roberto Soto comes in, the Flame, and Robert Fuller has them both down. And then here comes the Bullet with the chair. That was the end of that. Double disqualification. Of course, nobody unmasked in that one. Interview at the end. It's the Bullet talking. Boomer Lynch comes in as well. We was wondering about who the mystery partner was going to be in the arenas, and it comes out it was Boomer Lynch. And, of course, that'll be the 6-man tag match. Boomer Lynch, the Flame, Robert Fuller against the Bullet, Brad Armstrong, and Roberto Soto. And then at the end of the program, it's the Bullet talking about Boomer Lynch, the Flame, and Robert Fuller, and then it stops. That was the end of the show. That was the end of the show. Pretty decent show, I must say. What do you think?
Unfortunately, goes back before my I've got Continental Wrestling till its bitter end, but unfortunately that starts before my collection does. I think my tapes, my DVDs start in May of '86. So
is that about the same time you started going to the matches at that point?
Yeah, about the same time. I was actually going probably a week or 2 before we decided to start taping. I will say this. The Continental TV title didn't last very long, did it? We had a few that The Tennessee title also comes to mind. And I guess what happened on the Tennessee title is they just transferred it to USA Wrestling, right? When the Rons opened, your dad, Ron West, and Ron Fuller opened USA Wrestling, I guess is how that would be worded. And Tennessee title went up there. I think that was kind of tailor-made for Doug Furnace, but that's a topic for another time. But I will say this, anytime you get some of the people that Rodney mentioned here on this particular show, Austin Idol was not long for the promotion at this point. He was getting ready to, I guess the fans, the people at home didn't know it, but he was getting ready to make his exit after really being kind of the top, I guess he and Bob Armstrong for a couple years there in 84 and early 85. You can probably throw Pork Chop Cash in there, maybe Lord Humongous. You have to throw them in there too. But anytime you get the Flame, Bob Armstrong, or the Bullet, Brad Armstrong, Robert Fuller, that led to also the we're going to see this in the coming weeks, but Robert Fuller ended up actually getting into it with Brad Armstrong over that title, if I remember correctly, is where that's going to go. And then I guess we'll get more of Roberto Soto in the Flame, and eventually a heel Roy Welch, which I greatly enjoyed, the King of Wrestling thing.
Well, I know the Continental TV title lasted long enough for us to get there because I was in Robert's video carrying the trophy through the lobby there at Boutwell Auditorium, and then I think it disappears after that.
Yeah, I think you guys
at one point, Robert's also the Continental Heavyweight Champion, if I'm not mistaken. So,
how many titles do they have? They had 6 matches most of the time, 7 matches. Did they have 7 titles?
They had the Continental title, which, of course, once they changed the name of the promotion, the Continental title, and I know the two of you know this, but if you're watching this and you don't know much about Continental Wrestling, if you search Continental Heavyweight title, you can search Brad Armstrong along with that, because Brad Armstrong had it a lot. And there's not many pictures of this belt. This is the one that I've talked about before, wishing that we knew where this belt was. It's a brown strap. It's got the same look that a lot of the Southern promotion straps had back then, but it's got a mock-up of the physical United States of America in red, white, and blue on each side. A lot of the internet pictures are with Brad Armstrong. There's not many of them. I think there's one with the Tennessee Stud with Ron Fuller actually with a mask on. So there was a Continental title. Then there was the Southeastern title, which was the main promotion title before. That's the one you see with Adrian Street a lot, painted pink. It's got the crown on it. The Southeastern tag team titles looked an awful lot like that, except they were black. That's the ones that Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden and the Nightmares held so many times, had most of its history right here. Then they end up switching those during Continental when you and Rodney are very much there. They switch those to the Continental tag team titles. Those are the red, white, and blue straps that you see. You can look online and search the DI, Detroit Demolition. There's a lot of pictures of them with the belts, the Nightmares. So the Continental title, the Southeastern title, the Southeastern tag / Continental tag. For a while, they ride without the Alabama title. After Jerry Stubbs famously throws it in the river. That's one of many titles, I think, that got thrown in the river. But they bring back the Alabama title in '86, and it's a different belt completely. It's a brand new belt, black with the Alabama state flag on it. There's some blue involved there. And then, of course, this is one that confuses everybody. It's the United States Junior Heavyweight title, which was actually not just a Continental title. That was actually I'll sound like Gordon Soley, but it was sanctioned by the NWA. It really was the Southeastern version of the Junior Heavyweight title. So you had a lot of matches. I know you guys know this, but you had a lot of matches. Denny Brown, who was the NWA World Champion for a while back in the 80s. He came through and defended his title against Tim Horner. You had pretty much a war between Scott Armstrong and Tom Pritchard in '87 over the U.S. Junior title. Those matches were really, really good. So they had really 5, but for a while they rode without the Alabama title. So, but good stuff all the way around.
So 7 matches, we had 5 titles.
Yeah.
Hey, why did it matter if they had the Night of Champions? I thought that was every night.
And they briefly had Rodney's Continental TV title there that he mentioned, which I don't think ever had a belt. I think it was that gigantic trophy that Robert always had someone bring out. Then they kind of got away from that. Robert wins the Continental title, and it's almost like it. I think that's why it confuses so many people, because he went from the TV title to the Continental title. And then you had later on, right in early '88, they created a Tennessee heavyweight title. But I don't think that's the belt that when you look online and you see that Tennessee belt with the orange and the mountains and stuff. One of those I think is from Smoky Mountain actually, and another one is from Continental. But the Continental, the other one is from USA Wrestling, but USA Wrestling only existed about a year. It was throughout the year of 1988, and Doug Furnace was actually a huge part of that. Doug Furnace, Wendell Cooley, your dad, Ron West, was a big part, if I remember right, of USA Wrestling.
I don't know if he was a big part of it, but
he was definitely a part of it, right?
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. Bob Polk was also a part of the USA.
Yes, he was, and Gordon Soley hosted that show with, I think, often Ron Fuller, if I remember right.
He did.
It was a good promo. I wish we could have gotten it longer. Hector Guerrero did a great job. You're watching, Hector. I don't think he gets talked about a lot down here, but Hector did a fantastic job as a heel in USA Wrestling. So did but our late great Buddy Landell, but that's to no surprise. Buddy was really good and funny wherever he went.
Yeah, and plus people hated him no matter where he was at.
Yes.
Dressing room or a friend.
Yeah, I was going to leave that off, but yeah, you're right.
This show was a good show. It's not all there, but November 16th, 1985 was a great this was a great time. Brad Armstrong was being pushed heavily there in this point in time, and I'm going to tell you, the bullet was over. Bob was over. Man, he was over. So was Tommy Rich and Johnny Rich.
And Tommy's still motivated here. Even though you had the poster, but
I've already watched ahead of time. But November 23rd, we won't be doing November 23rd because it doesn't really exist. But November 30th, 1985 will be the next one we watch. And I'm telling you something, that is a tremendous episode. I just watched it today. Man, that is Candy Divine is on it. It's tremendous. Anything we need.
So, hold on. So we've been building, let me get this right. We've been building Lady Maxine coming for how many weeks? Now, this makes the third.
At least three.
So now Candy Divine's coming in first.
Candy Divine's coming in first. But I'm going to tell you, Candy Divine and Miss Linda, we'll talk about it. This was a tremendous show, by the way.
We were there by that time. I believe by the time Candy Divine we were there, were we not?
I don't know. Maybe she came back.
She did actually come back. She came back while you were there for just a little brief, little short time.
Okay.
And then, of course, you were also there, I think, when Debbie Combs came in. If you remember her back in later in '86. But November 30th. I won't give anything away, but that is a great. Other than maybe the show where Bob Armstrong and Robert Fuller do in the cage with Ron Fuller and Jimmy. Other than that show, this might even top that show. The one you're talking about, November 30th, might have been their best show in '85. It was really good.
Yeah, it was a good show. All right, folks, if you enjoyed this video, give us the big thumbs up. Subscribe to the page. You have it already. 300 videos is available right here on YouTube. Also, we have a huge series of Continental Championship Wrestling, and you can watch the whole playlist, and you can watch everyone we've done. I think this might be episode 13 or 14, and so make sure you watch the whole playlist because you'll learn a little bit about Continental Championship Wrestling, and share the video. Have I missed anything?
Yeah, I wonder how
You're
come
good.
Gordon was talking about Joe Pedicino during this show.
Well, because Joe was paying him to do that show.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode right here on Continental Championship Wrestling's Discussion.